Welcome to this Greater Vancouver real estate market update, recapping everything that happened in April of 2023 last month, and also updating you on where it looks like the market is heading. Number one, we start off with sales volume. The number of transactions that were done in the month of April surpassed March, and that's the first time that we have seen that in a 4-year time period, and it's also the highest number of transactions that we have seen in an 11-month period. HPI, the home price index, has been up 3 months in a row, officially creating a trend, thereby making January as the bottom of the real estate market for prices that we have seen, and we are on an upward trajectory for the last 3 months in a row. Inventory is done something that we've never seen it do before in the history since we started tracking the data. So I'm going to dive into each of these things and more in the rest of this video. Hey everybody, my name is Jonathan Lerner with the Vancouver Life Real Estate Group, and we help our clients buy, sell, and invest in the Greater Vancouver area. And if you have any questions about the things that you hear in this video or about your situation specifically and whether it's the right time to buy or whether it's the right time to sell for you, go down below this video and there's a link there to be able to book a 30-minute call with me. You can also go down below this video and click that subscribe button so that you get updated on everything real estate related in this Greater Vancouver market so you can make the best informed decisions when it comes to your future in the real estate industry. So where's the market? Well, number one, sales are up, and April, again, as I said, is the transaction volume is higher than it was in March, and we are on this upward trend in terms of transaction volume, which is going to carry over into the rest of this month of May. HPI prices bottomed out, and we've officially been on an upward trend for the last 3 months in a row. And inventory did something it's never done before, and that is 5 months in a row, it stayed below 9,000 active properties for sale on the MLS. And again, since we started tracking the data, that has never happened before in history. New listings in April were 22% below the 10-year average, and so we have not had the usual flood of inventory come into the market for the spring like we usually have during the month of April, and it's setting us up for this continued constrained supply over the coming months with really no end in sight at this point. So what does this set us up for? Well, a highly competitive seller's market, and buyers are finding themselves in bidding wars where prices are driving up despite interest rates and where they currently are right now. How can I say that prices are going to continue to go up? Well, I want to introduce you to something called the sales to active listings ratio. That ratio essentially compares the number of transactions, number of homes that were sold, divided by the number of new listings that came to market. When that number is 20% or above, we are in officially a seller's market, and we've been here now for 3 months in a row. Right now, we're sitting at a 33% sales to active listings ratio, up 2% over March, which March was up 18% over February, where we just shot right up. And what we expect when that happens is that sales to active listings ratio is a leading indicator, and it's about 3 to 6 months ahead of what we typically see in pricing within the real estate market. So when you see some changes and the sales to active listings ratio start to rise up, then you can expect pricing typically to start to rise up within a 3 to 6 month period behind it. What I want you to look at next is this graph right here. Across the top, you can see the sales to active listings ratio for each of the product types in our market: townhomes, condos, and detached. Now, townhomes at 44%, condos at 38%. This is a very, very strong sales to active listings ratio, which is essentially telling us there's going to be greater upward pressure on prices in the coming months. And if you can see that on the very right-hand side of the graph, as we bottomed out and now we're really starting to come up on the rise. And if you look at the very left of this graph, that was just a few months after the pandemic of COVID was announced. And that's also the beginning of what happened in the real estate market, where things started to go up, 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 up. And then we saw these very, very big peaks here in the middle of the graph, where the sales to active listings ratio was at times 80%, which was an absolutely crazy market. Now, if you take a look at this next graph here as well, this is basically the last 2 decades of sales to active listings ratio data that we have. On the very far right-hand side, that increased line that we see there, that is where we are right now. 2021, 2022, right beside it. The other 2 biggest peaks that you see in this graph are 2016 and 2017, when the market was just bananas as well. It was a very red hot market. Now, the other thing that you'll notice here is that a buyer's market is anything under 12%. So if we look, the first line above the bottom here is 0.1%. So if you just come up slightly above that, you'll kind of find that approximate 12% range. So if we go from the left to the right, we'll find 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a fifth point in time where we were at 12% or lower, considering ourselves in a buyer's market. And if you take a look at those dips though, they are also a very short period of time of whether it's 1 month or maybe 4, 5, 6 months at the absolute most. So when we have dipped into buyer's market territory, it's been there for a very short period of time. And right now we are ramping right up into sales to active listings ratio. We're keeping things very busy in the market and upward pressure continuing. What drives this ratio to being significantly higher right now? Well, the massive contributor is inventory. And on top of us setting a record right now of 5 months in a row of our inventory sitting below 9,000 active properties for sale right now, I want you to take a look at this graph for some perspective of where inventory has been sitting and going over the last 20 years. Inventory over the last 20 years have been on a steady decline. Now, there's been some little upswings, the highest there being the global financial crisis of 2008-9, and the little small dip in the middle at 2016-2017 was when the real estate market was extremely hot. But for the most part, if you take out those two peaks and dips, we're on a steady decline since then over the last 15 years. And when you take in the other economic factors that are happening in the world in terms of massive amounts of immigration, huge amounts of job vacancies and availability there, making us more attractive as a country for people to come to. And then we take into account our interest rates right now, where builders and developers are not building as much because the cost of capital and holding the land is so much higher with these current interest rates. We are not building very much, and yet we're bringing in record amounts of people into the country. This is setting us up for a very, very low supply and a high demand, which is going to keep us in this low inventory state, which is going to continue to drive prices up. All right, let's dive into prices, and I want to share some specific numbers here of where things have been going over the last several months. HPI, the home price index, which takes into account the average price of all homes. In February, it went up 1.1%, March, it went up 1.8%, and in April, went up 2.5%. That's 5.3% in just 3 months. Typically, if we see 2.5 to 3% in a year, that is a good year. And right now we're seeing 5.3% in just 3 months, with a trajectory to continue to see some big numbers in the coming months in terms of price appreciation here. The HPI, I also want to note, is a lagging indicator, and it is behind what is currently happening in the market. And with the current aspects that we have right now, our low inventory, the bidding wars that are happening, the competition that's happening, we are definitely seeing this boots on the ground happening faster in terms of price appreciation. When we were at the highest point in COVID, where prices were at when we had our sub 2% mortgage rates, we were from peak to the bottom in January, we were at about 14% that we had that differential there. Right now, we're about 8% below where the peak is, but our median prices are about 3% below where the peak is. So our home price index is lagging behind what is actually currently happening in the market. And I expect within the next 2 to 3 months that the HPI is going to be pretty darn close to our absolute peak that we found in 2021 of COVID. Median prices back this up as we increased $20,000 over last month. It's the 4th month in a row that we have jumped up dramatically. And since December, we have raised over $100,000 in the average median price of homes throughout the DVRD. Days on market. This is the average amount of time that it takes a home to be able to sell in this market. And 3 months ago, we were sitting at 30 days on average to be able to sell a home. And now we are sitting at 11 days. Things are accelerating in the market. And the biggest thing that if you are a buyer, you must have all your ducks in a row before you even think about jumping into this market right now. Because if you don't have your pre-approval and your financing in place, you're setting yourself out to be disappointed when you go into the process of being able to try and put an offer on a home. You have to understand how to read the documents and get educated on that. You have to understand the process of, can you get an inspection before putting your offer in? There's so many things that go into it that you need to speak to your realtor about to ensure that you are fully primed and ready to be able to put in the best possible offer if you truly want to be able to get an opportunity to be able to have our property in this point in time. Let's take a look at the forecast of what to expect in the coming months. Now, we're not expecting any sort of a flood of inventory to come into the market in any way. It just doesn't look like anything is going to spur that. Having said that, there might be some people who've been trying to hold out on selling their home because they just were not going to be able to get the number that they thought they'd be able to get. And now as prices are on the rise, that may start to shift and people are finding out, okay, now I think I can be able to get this price for my home. So now is the opportunity to be able to list my home and get the number that I want. So that may bring some more homes to market, but it's not going to be a large amount. And I think the demand that we have out there right now, it's just going to absorb that so fast, and it's not going to make a dramatic difference. So we are still going to be in a lack of inventory. I foresee us absolutely still being in continuous bidding wars and multiple offer scenarios for the coming at least May and June. Absolutely. We'll see what the market brings in the summer, and our last few years of the market has done anything but the normal cycles. So this summer may be busy, it may be quieter. It's just we're gonna have to wait and see what happens next. If you're thinking about jumping into this market as a buyer and you're just not sure where things stand for you, if it makes sense, please go down below this video, click that link to book a 30-minute call with me. And if you're thinking about possibly selling, and if this is the right time to sell based off of your specific situation, again, go down below this video, click that link to be able to book that 30-minute call, and let's have a chat and see what makes sense for you based off of your situation and what your goals are for the future. And that's your real estate market update for the Greater Vancouver area. If you gained some value from this video, please make sure to like, to subscribe, and to click that bell to get notified of future videos, as I am bringing these out each and every single week to keep you informed on the market so you can make the best decisions possible for you, your situation, and your goals in the future. And if you know anyone that would also gain some value from this video, please click that share link and pass that link along to them, and it helps so much in terms of being able to boost the algorithm in YouTube and allow this to be seen by more people as well. Have an amazing day, and looking forward to chatting with you soon.